Hey everyone, it's part 4 of our horror heavyweight series. Get ready for a spooky clash as The Shining faces The Exorcist. And we're not diving into this scary journey alone. Our pals from Alamo City Movie Talk are back to navigate every creepy corner with us. This is the Nerd Coliseum. Greetings, gladiators. I'm Frankie.
And I'm Kristen. We're back with another episode full of scares and thrills, and we're excited to have our friends from Alamo City Movie Talk join us again. If you caught part 1 of our Horror Heavyweight Championship, you know how insightful they can be. They're here for the final round of this eerie face-off, so let's welcome them back.
Hey, I'm Angela, always on the lookout for the next scare.
Hey guys, it's Ryan back as your co-host on this thrilling journey. Lex, on the other hand, he's from Alamo City Movie Talk. He joined us back in part 1, but guys, he's traveling the world right now, but he will be here in spirit as we dig deeper into the spooky vibes.
Great to see you both again. Chris and I always love teaming up with you guys. We always have a blast at movie premieres with y'all and creating film reviews for your channel. Watch out for those gladiators. Now, it's time to dive into the Nerd Coliseum, where we pit pop culture giants against each other.
This is part 4, the finale of our Horror Heavyweight Showdown. Throughout this series, 4 iconic horror films have gone head-to-head in a battle of terror. Now, after a long and suspenseful journey, only one will rise as the grand champion in this climactic episode.
If you're just tuning in for the first time, we highly suggest revisiting the earlier episodes to fully immerse yourself in our journey of terror. Believe us when we say you're not going to want to miss all the moments that have led up to this.
Here's the scoop on our rules. Each face-off will be governed by 4 unpredictable categories, decided by the whims of our spinning wheel of chance. Our iconic films will be examined with each category. Points are up for grabs, 1 for each round. The film possessing the most points by the episode's haunting conclusion will claim the title of Horror Heavyweight Champion.
Everybody's got an opinion on movies, but here, they take a back seat. Our decisions combine the unpredictable spin of the wheel with solid facts. It's not about our personal feelings. Each category is key in deciding the winner.
It's a balanced battleground where fortune and truth make their mark.
So, before we dive in, what's running through everyone's minds? Got any hunches? Is anyone rooting for a contender in this epic face-off?
I mean, these are two, even though they both are kind of like the same genre, but in a way they're not. They're so, it's so different. One started a birth of The Exorcist, because there was no exorcism movies, which we pointed out because we thought The Omen was around that time. Actually was, but a year later, I believe. But a lot of it has to do with more so like just the different storytellings of two completely different stories, and one is of course a novel, and the other one's based on a true story and everything. And yeah, it's definitely a different horror film. It's the same genre, but it's different.
They're so different.
They hit different for me. They do.
They're so different. They're so unique in their own ways. But my personal favorite, I'm rooting for The Exorcist.
Okay.
It's a classic. I'm sorry.
But that's funny because you get really scared very easily. So okay, if you want, that's the thing too, is if you want storytelling, it's like you want The Shining. But if you want like to get freaked the hell out and just to be scared, it's going to be The Exorcist. So it's like, what do you want out of a movie, And I kind of feel that way with a lot of different films. And it's like, what do you want to be happy? You want to be laughing your ass off. What do you want? What do you expect out of a movie? Because in reality, we want something out of it. We want that experience, that movie experience, that cinema art, that it's kind of like, what do you want from it?
I think if you want to be laughing, you've come to the wrong place. These movies aren't funny.
What do you think?
Jack Nicholson's laughing.
I was like, you have like a dark sense of humor. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. The famous poster of him laughing. He's laughing.
He's having a good time.
Yeah, he's having a good time. What are you talking about?
See, again, like I'm not a big horror movie fan. Like I don't like to be scared. I'm a big baby. Mm-hmm. So I've seen bits and pieces of The Exorcist, but what I do look for and what I do enjoy in certain horror films is a story. So I am more on the side of The Shining. Okay. I like the in-depth story, the Stephen King type story of The Shining. I like the development of the characters. And one thing about The Shining too, that I don't know if I said this or not. The reason I like The Shining, and to me The Shining is terrifying, is not because of the supernatural aspects of it, but because of like Jack Torrance as a character in general. I mean, like this man like accidentally ripped his son's arm out of his socket. Like he has severe alcoholism. Like, and it's scary to put yourself in the place of what's her name? Wendy? Is her name?
Yeah,
Wendy Torrance in her shoes to be trapped in this place, trying to take care of her son.
I'm telling you, and imagine being in a haunted house that theme. It's definitely.
I would be curious to see what haunted houses would do if it was The Shining.
So I did. So you know how to do like Universal Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
So they did have one dedicated to The Shining.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it was amazing. Everybody was going in scared and like terrified. I was like, oh my God, look at this. It's the Overlook Hotel. They had like this whole like setup rigged where the other one elevator. I loved it.
Everyone's running for their life.
They had the twins. Like it was just.
You had the twins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much you walk through scenes of the movie, scenes of the hotel. And it was just, they did such a good job. It was fascinating. And I was, being the horror nerd that I am, like it was so good. It wasn't like, oh, this isn't scary. It was just like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So it wasn't scary. You're just like, oh, I remember that scene.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, look at that. The blood's coming out of the elevator.
I do find it interesting that like the movies that have come to the final were the oldest movies in our category here.
True.
They beat out The Ring. They bet out Hereditary.
I'm kind of curious what these categories would be because these are really evenly matched films. Like I think it's like it could go either way. I could see either way going.
All right. So any last minute comments about The Exorcist and The Shining before we dive into our categories and figure out who the winner is?
All righty. Well, let's do it.
All right. Now let's dive into the battle. The Exorcist versus The Shining.
Let's meet our contenders. Ryan and Angela, please do the honors.
In one corner, we revisit 1980, when Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson illuminate the chilling narrative of Stephen King's The Shining. We're introduced to Jack Torrance, unforgettably portrayed by Jack Nicholson, descending into madness in the eerie Overlook Hotel. In a harsh winter storm, Jack and his wife Wendy, Shelley Duvall, and son Danny Lloyd, who is endowed with a special power called The Shining, are plunged into a world of haunting secrets and ghostly inhabitants, spiraling into an abyss of terror.
For some people, solitude and isolation can of itself become a problem.
In the other corner, we journey to 1973 with William Friedkin's spine-tingling classic, The Exorcist. We meet young Regan McNeil, played by Linda Blair, undergoing a horrifying demonic possession, leaving her mother, Chris, portrayed by Ellen Burstyn, in despair. The tormented priest, Father Karras, embodied by Jason Miller, and the seasoned exorcist, Father Mirren, played by Max von Sydow, is pulled into a terrifying struggle for Regan's soul.
Something beyond comprehension is happening to a little girl on this street, in this house. A man has been sent for, as a last resort, to try and save her.
All right, folks, it's that moment where we find out the 4 categories facing the fate of our cinematic contenders in this episode.
Gather round, horror fans, as we reveal the mystery of our spinning wheel of chance.
And voila! Round 1 is set to ignite in the world of screenplay.
A spin, a whirl, and destiny calls. Round 2 plunges us into critics' ratings.
Hold your breath. The third duel dives into the musical terror soundtrack.
And here we are. The 4th and final clash awaits in the world of novels. Each of these films has an original novel counterpart that we will examine more closely.
A showdown of narratives and horror, each vying for the crown.
May the spookiest tale triumph in the Nerd Coliseum. Let the first round, screenplay, begin.
Let's dive into our first contender, The Shining. Adapted from Stephen King's 1977 novel, this screenplay took creative turns that left King less than pleased. Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson made significant changes, giving the film a unique flavor of its own.
King believed Kubrick and Johnson missed out on the deeper emotional and psychological aspects of his characters. But hang tight. We'll delve deeper into this in the final round, comparing the book and the film. Still, Kubrick and Johnson managed to emphasize a stunning visual narrative and unforgettable film characters.
Come and play with us, Daddy.
King's focus was the inner conflict of the characters, while Kubrick and Johnson made the Overlook Hotel a menacing character in its own right, spilling over with dark secrets.
And who could forget the iconic, "Here's Johnny," a line not from King's novel or the screenplay, but an improv created by Jack Nicholson. This showcases the film's distinctive stamp on the horror genre. Ooh.
Here's another interesting bit. The screenplay was ever evolving. Scenes were often rewritten just before filming. Actors would receive new lines moments before the camera started rolling, adding an element of spontaneity and rawness to their performances.
Get a lot written today?
Yes.
The film's adaptability wasn't limited to its production. After the film was released, Kubrick cut a scene changing the ending for future audiences. In the cut scene, Wendy and Danny recover in a hospital after the Overlook Hotel nightmare. They're visited by the hotel manager Ullman, who reveals Jack's body wasn't found and there's no proof of the acclaimed supernatural events. The mystery deepens as Ullman hands Danny a yellow tennis ball, similar to the one from the eerie encounter in the hotel's hallways.
The 1980 screenplay of The Shining is more than just a well-written piece, it's ever-evolving. The script is filled with symbolic and non-linear storytelling, full of visual symbols and hidden meanings that invite various interpretations. Just like the mysterious Overlook Hotel, it continues to captivate audiences worldwide. Moving the spotlight to The Exorcist now, William Peter Blatty was the architect behind both the 1971 novel and the iconic screenplay. Therefore, it's a masterpiece that mirrors the terror of the original text.
And Blatty wasn't just weaving fiction, he was painting horror with brushes dipped in the unsettling ink of real-life events. The Roland Doe case, also known as the real-life exorcism case that inspired The Exorcist, is a series of events that unfolded in 1949, involving a young boy believed to be possessed. Roland Doe's real name has been kept secret to protect his privacy.
Let's delve into the remarkable craftsmanship of the screenplay. It's not every day that a horror script earns the prestigious accolade of an Academy Award. The script's complex story, detailed characters, and especially the scary depiction of possession are what helped Blatty win an Oscar in 1974.
And may we have the envelope, please? The winner is William Peter Blatty for The Exorcist.
The fear is not just seen, but deeply felt. Scenes like Regan's possession are more than images. They make our worst nightmares come to life and reflect the horror Blatty injected into the story.
Even in the midst of all this horror, we see the human struggle. Father Merrin and Karas are more than just characters. They're individuals wrestling with their faith while facing the terrifying possession.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
In the 2000 re-release, the horror intensifies. Cut scenes, like the creepy spider walk, are brought back with the help of digital effects, pulling audiences even deeper into the terror.
And it's not just added scares. These restored scenes, especially the extended conversations between Father Merrin and Karas, offer a deeper look into the film's complex themes of good and evil, adding another layer to the chilling experience.
Why this girl? It makes no sense. I think that the point is to make us despair. To see ourselves as animal and ugly. To reject the possibility that God could love us.
These additions are more than just extra frames of film. They offer audiences a fuller vision of Blatty's screenplay. The reintroduction of these scenes adds new dimensions of horror and complexity, each element carefully designed to pull us deeper into a haunting narrative.
So we've dissected both screenplays. Who emerges victorious?
Claiming the throne in the realm of screenplay, it's The Exorcist.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
After a look into the screenplays of these iconic films, The Exorcist emerges victorious in this round. The accolade of William Peter Blatty's Academy Award-winning screenplay in '74 is a testament to its haunting dialogue and intricate character development.
The Academy Award isn't just a shiny trophy. It's a recognition of mastery in storytelling.
In contrast, The Shining, though iconic and a masterpiece in its own right, didn't receive such honors in writing. Kubrick and Johnson's script is legendary, but the Oscar win for The Exorcist underscores its exceptional narrative craft.
With that settled, it's time for us to slide into round 2, critics' rating.
Real quick, before we dive into our 2 movies, let's shed some light on the 2 of the most prominent movie rating platforms, Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, which we will use to make our final decision in this round.
First up is Rotten Tomatoes. It's like the Coliseum of movie ratings, where films are either celebrated or, well, tossed to the lions.
Movies there are either fresh or rotten, based on the reviews from approved critics. They calculate the percentage of positive reviews, and if it's 60% or more, the movie is fresh. Below that, it's rotten.
Now, Metacritic, on the other hand, operates a bit differently. It considers reviews from top critics, converts each review into a score out of 100, and then calculates the weighted average.
The final Metacritic score is a reflection of the critics' reviews ranging from 0 to 100. Anything above 60 is generally positive. With that out of the way, let's get started in the round of critic scores.
The Exorcist has a special vibe. It's not just scary, it's deeper than that. Critics also see the magic in it, appreciating its rich storytelling and deep characters.
The film's use of supernatural horror stirred controversy and sparked debates. Some critics thought it was too intense and perhaps excessive, taking audiences into new and debated territories of terror.
Your mother's in here with his cash. Would you like to leave a message? I see that she gets it.
The story wasn't the only thing, though, that unnerved viewers and critics alike. Iconic scenes like the spinning head along with creepy sounds and images were crafted with such skill that they raised the bar for horror. Critics found themselves both terrified and mesmerized, showcasing The Exorcist as a film that broke through the unusual limits of horror.
But it didn't stop there. The film faced bans and was censored in various regions, including the United Kingdom and Australia. The intense content was seen as too horrifying, sparking conversations about the limits of on-screen horror. Critics were integral in these decisions, highlighting the film's audacious venture into uncharted terrains of terror.
On Rotten Tomatoes, The Exorcist currently sits at a fresh 78%, and with a positive Metacritic score of 82.
As we shift our focus to The Shining, let's explore the intriguing and puzzling journey it took through the eyes of the critics. When it first emerged, it sparked a whirlwind of opinions, leaving both critics and viewers on the edge of their seats.
Wendy, I'm home.
The Shining entered the scene with a mixed bag of reactions. Some applaud Stanley Kubrick's artistic brilliance, while others, including the author Stephen King, as we mentioned earlier, didn't hold back in expressing their reservations.
Variety didn't even mince words in their critique of the film. They criticized its length, pacing, and even Jack Nicholson's performances. What the hell? For lacking subtlety. In fact, this vintage article will be shared tomorrow on the Nerd Coliseum Facebook and Twitter page if you'd like to take a look. A heads up though, the review's language is a clear snapshot of its time, having been written in December of 1979.
Interestingly, Shelley Duvall, who portrayed Wendy Torrance, found herself with a Razzie nomination for Worst Actress.
Oh, come on, hon. Don't be so grouchy.
A nomination that many today consider undeserved given her praised performance in contemporary reviews. Hashtag Razzie reversal, anyone?
On Rotten Tomatoes, The Shining currently sits at a fresh 83% with a positive Metacritic score of 66.
Well, this is interesting. The Shining has a higher Rotten Tomatoes score, but The Exorcist has a higher Metacritic score. We have a dilemma on our hands.
Let's settle the debate and determine which film wins the category of critic score. We have some critical numbers to consider.
The Exorcist boasts a Rotten Tomatoes score of 78% and a Metacritic score of 82.
Meanwhile, The Shining stands with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 83% and a Metacritic score of 66%.
So when we weigh both Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic scores together, we can see that The Exorcist holds a slight advantage in the category of critic score.
Here's the breakdown for you. While The Shining does have a slightly higher Rotten Tomatoes score, 83% versus 78%, The difference is very minimal.
But when it comes to Metacritic, The Exorcist takes the lead with a significantly higher score of 82 compared to The Shining's 66.
Taking all these factors into account, it's fair to say that The Exorcist should be considered as having a slight edge in the critic score category based on both Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic scores.
So there you have it, folks. The Exorcist clinches the victory in the critics' score category.
That's much too vulgar display of power, Karis.
All right, gladiators, we're halfway through this showdown with 2 rounds behind us and 2 more to go. The competition is heating up and the stakes are higher than ever.
As it stands, The Exorcist is leading with 2 points, while The Shining has yet to secure a point. But don't count The Shining out just yet. There's plenty of game left and anything can happen in the next 2 rounds.
We've seen some incredible performances so far, and the excitement is far from over.
And speaking of excitement, it's halftime, and we've got a special treat for you all.
Get ready for a heart-pounding round of 3 Truths and a Lie.
3 Truths and a Lie is a classic party game where a player tells 4 statements, 3 of which are true and 1 that is a lie. The objective is for the other players to guess which statement is false. We'll serve up 4 film facts, but remember, 1 is a cinematic fib.
If you were with us last time, you'll remember Kristen was in the hot seat, but now it's time for Ryan, Angela, and me to take on her challenge. And for our listeners at home, play along and see if you can spot the lie.
Get ready to be cinematic detectives, folks. I will say the others have not seen or heard any of these statements before. All right, so here we go. I think I found some pretty good ones. So hopefully,
well, I'm excited.
Hopefully this is good. I don't feel like
we found. I want to see it.
I don't feel like if the last time I did this, I found some good ones, but this time I think I did. Okay. So statement number 1: Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian Kubrick, played a minor role in the film as the child who sings to Danny in the hallway.
So I don't...
Wait, read it again?
Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian Kubrick, played a minor role in the film as the child who sings to Danny in the hallway. And obviously this is from The Shining.
Yeah. So I don't remember that being like physically in the movie, but I could see that maybe they recorded her singing and just put it into the movie. So maybe that's true. Do you guys remember that?
I don't remember that. I'll be honest. I don't.
All right, Kristen, you did good.
Okay, maybe.
I'm making it hard from the get-go.
Believable.
Yeah.
That sounds believable.
But
all right, number 2. The hedge mage scene was filmed on a real hedge mage set constructed in the middle of winter, and the cast and the crew faced extremely cold conditions in its construction.
I feel like given what we've talked about how the
true.
director was, I feel like that would be true.
Yeah. I'll say
I feel like that one could be false. And I only say that because I know from previous episodes that Chris and I have done, The Shining was filmed in England during summertime, except for some of the exterior shots, which were shot on location in Colorado. So that one,
Colorado's cold.
So that could go either way. All
right, number 3. The film's famous all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy typewritten pages were all individually written by Kubrick.
Yeah, I think that could be true.
I feel like
I've heard he's either done it or his either he did it or his secretary did it. No. He's like, I did that. And the secretary's like, my hands are bleeding.
So we know the last one's true for sure.
So
all right,
maybe.
I'm sorry that the first 3 were all Shining, so this last one is from The Exorcist. So number 4, The Exorcist was originally set to be shot in the United States, but due to budget constraints, it was filmed entirely in Europe.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I know
who's
that
the studio. Who's the studio again on it? The Exorcist.
Oh, I don't.
Paramount. No, it's not.
I
Paramount.
don't recall. But I know that the staircase that's very famous in The Exorcist is in Georgetown, like in America, and that was filmed there.
It's Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
No, that has to be here.
See, but Warner Brothers, no, because I mean, they do a lot of.
Were they doing
on set? I mean, even Harry Potter, they wasn't even. I mean, but that's different.
But that's Harry Potter.
Yeah, but I mean, Warner Brothers has always known to do offset, so I kind of don't agree with that. They're more for doing not in United States films. Like filming wise, because they do a lot of films that are like not out in the States.
But I feel like since it was such a closed set, like it was just literally the house.
Yeah.
And I think there's like one scene that was not filmed in the house.
I just know that exterior shot was in Georgetown. Like it was done in Georgetown. So I guess maybe a quick review before we pick our little answers. Could you go through all 4 of them?
Yeah, so number 1, in The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian Kubrick, played a minor role in the film as the child who sings to Danny in the hallway. Number 2, the hedge mage scene was filmed on a real hedge mage set constructed in the middle of winter, and the cast and crew faced extremely cold conditions. Number 3, in The Shining, the film's famous all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Typewritten pages were all individually written by Kubrick. Or 4, The Exorcist was originally set to be shot entirely in the United States, but due to budget constraints, it was filmed entirely in Europe.
Maybe the hedge one. I'll go with false.
I think for me, it's either number 1 or number 4. And I'm going to go with number 1 being the lie.
The daughter.
I'm gonna go with damn it. Screw it. I'll go with
it's tough for me. It's either 1 or 4. So
I know one's like it's
I don't know, kind of. So what are you deciding on?
I don't remember. It's 1. I'm gonna say 1.
I don't remember
so
1. So I'm gonna go
Stanley
with 1.
Kubrick's daughter being.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's the lie.
Okay, yeah.
If it's in the movie, she wasn't physically.
I will defer to their judgment.
That statement is true.
Oh,
dang!
And the lie is the film's famous all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Typewritten pages were all individually written by Kubrick. That is a lie.
Dang.
Oh, so they were done by a secretary, I guess.
Dang. I was going to say, she was like, he's a director.
Oh, boy.
Like, not enough time.
All right. And now it's time to plunge into the audio spectacle of Round 3 Soundtrack.
When it comes to the soundtrack, though, The Exorcist lays down yet another maker in horror film history. The eerie tune of Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells wasn't even crafted for the film. The tune was originally created as part of a standalone progressive rock album. Whoa.
Its haunting melodies didn't just complement the film, they elevated it. And again, let's not overlook how it brought Tubular Bells into the limelight, earning its well-deserved Grammy and turning it into a signature piece of horror music.
And yet, every masterpiece comes with its quirks. The Exorcist made significant use of existing music, raising eyebrows among those who perhaps expected an original score tailored to the film's unique narrative. The choice to lean heavily on classical and avant-garde compositions instead of original music was both a strength and a point of contention.
There's an interesting backstory about an original score that never made it to the public ear.
You don't say.
Lalo Schifrin, the maestro behind the iconic pieces like the Mission Impossible theme, had composed a unique score for The Exorcist. But in a twist of irony, it was deemed too terrifying, even for the benchmark horror film. Can you imagine? A score too intense for one of the most chilling movies ever made? Well, let's treat ourselves to a snippet of that eerie, rejected composition right now.
The mix of iconic melodies and complex tone enriches our discussion. Every note is part of a grand puzzle that makes The Exorcist a standout in horror film history. Each piece of music, with its own unique vibe, adds another layer to the movie's haunting legacy.
Diving into the music of The Shining, here's something haunting about the mix of sounds we hear. It's an electric blend, weaving modern and classic compositions into the fabric of the film.
And who could overlook that iconic opening theme by Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkind? It becomes synonymous with the eerie world of the Overlook Hotel, echoing in the minds of anyone who's seen the film.
Yet not everyone was a fan. Stephen King, surprise, surprise, wasn't too pleased. He believed the soundtrack strayed from his vision, creating an atmosphere distinct from his original narrative. It's as if Stephen King turned into Gordon Ramsay for this, demanding the sonic flavors to be served in his way.
So that's how you measure your professionalism, by standing there and giggling. Or would you like some popcorn?
And the use of existing music, like with The Exorcist, though creatively done, drew its share of criticism. And according to a few critics, there were moments when the soundtrack felt almost too intense, overshadowing the cinematic spectacle.
Yet, in all its complexity, the soundtrack of The Shining remains an intricate piece of the film's enduring enigma.
Okay, so let's review. Both movie soundtracks are known for making the films scarier and more intense. They both used existing music to make certain scenes more powerful. People still remember and talk about the music from these films because it left a big mark on horror movies and pop culture. So, with both being so good, who wins this round?
Personally, I think this might be the closest and most controversial point awarded in the history of the Coliseum.
And the winner of the category of soundtrack goes to The Shining.
Some of you are probably wondering, how in the cinema heck did they decide this? Well, we'll tell you.
When we talk about legacy, Tubular Bells from The Exorcist is iconic, but the overall soundtrack of The Shining infiltrates every scene, every moment of terror, making it a living entity that resonates with audiences scene by scene, note by note. In a way, it becomes its own character.
That's why in this Sonic Showdown, The Shining takes the crown. Its music isn't just heard, it's an experience. A character that unveils the chilling narrative, weaving an auditory tale of horror as unforgettable as the visual spectacle itself.
There you have it. The music is a silent yet echoing protagonist that stands a testament to the film's enduring legacy.
And now, it's time to plunge into the final round. Novels.
Both films, distinct and iconic in their own right, share their genesis from the written word. It's here in these literary roots that the intricate horrors found their first breath.
Each movie faced the challenge of translating the horrors etched in the pages of the novels into a visual and auditory experience on screen. Quite the daunting task.
Let's see which novel provided the strongest roots. The Exorcist novel, penned by William Peter Blatty, is a treasure trove of fascinating tales.
Did you know the novel was inspired by true events? As we mentioned before, Blatty drew from the chilling tale of Roland Doe, a boy who in 1949 underwent a series of exorcisms, real-life horror giving birth to a fictional nightmare.
And it didn't just spook readers, but it launched itself on the New York Times bestseller list for 57 weeks. Talk about haunting the charts, eh?
A chart topper and genre definer, but like all art, it was a magnet for controversy. The explicit content, the provocative exploration of good and evil, well, it was banned and criticized in several quarters. A novel that was as divisive as it was popular.
But amidst the bans and controversies, there was something undeniably captivating about it. Some critics argue Blatty sensationalized demonic possession. But isn't that the mark of great horror? To push boundaries, to challenge the norms?
My attitude about the book was it was a great classic work of literature. I believe that The Exorcist will be, the novel, will be regarded years from now as the works of Edgar Allan Poe are regarded today.
Readers reported sleepless nights, with some even too terrified to finish the book. That's the mark of a narrative that doesn't just linger on the pages, but invades your psyche, haunting your very existence.
And let's not forget the theological storm it stirred. Religious groups, theologians, all jumped into the fray.
It's this mix of acclaim, controversy, and enduring horror that marks the Exorcist novel as a cornerstone in horror literature. It wasn't just a book, it was an experience.
Now, let's explore the mysterious realm of Stephen King's The Shining, often ranked as his most popular book by various sources.
It's a world that has earned its stripes in the Hall of Horror fame. The intricate plot, the dance between psychological and the supernatural, its narrative is so rich, so deeply woven, it's no wonder it's a jewel in King's crown.
In the novel, The Shining, Jack Torrance is a difficult character, but he's fundamentally a sympathetic character. So I saw these all as warm characters that were being threatened by forces from without, from ghosts, from real supernatural creatures.
Yet, it's not without its criticisms.
Pacing.
It's always a delicate dance in horror, isn't it? But some readers found King's detail approach, while rich, to be a slow burn, where every detail, every moment is a step deeper into the intricate dance of terror. It just takes some time to get there.
But even with its pacing, there's no denying the iconic status The Shining holds. Red Room, the sister twins, they're not just characters and phrases. They're entities that haunt the corridors of horror literature and film.
But for all its acclaim, the graphic nature of King's narrative was a point of contention. It's a book that doesn't hold back. If you thought seeing the old lady in the bathtub in the movie was chilling, reading King's vivid description takes the horror to a whole new level.
It's a narrative opus, echoing with both applause and critique.
All right, it's time to make the call. The winner of the category of novels is...
Whoa, wait, just a second, Frankie. Before we reveal the victor, let's challenge our audience with... a movie trivia quickfire.
You heard Kristen. It's a challenge for you, our beloved audience, who's ready to prove their horror chops. And hey, if you're feeling sociable, grab a friend or simply inform the stranger next to you about our podcast and dive into this challenge together.
Let's get those horror gears grinding. Question 1. True or false? Stanley Kubrick didn't even read the screenplay that Stephen King wrote for The Shining. Think carefully now.
The answer is true. Stephen King wrote a screenplay for The Shining, but Kubrick, who viewed King's writing as weak, didn't even read it. Kubrick preferred to collaborate with Diane Johnson, an author he admired. They spent 11 weeks developing the script.
Moving swiftly along to question 2. In The Exorcist, what was the name of the archaeological site where Father Merrin encountered the statue of Pazuzu?
If you said Hatra, located in Iraq, you're spot on. Well done to those who got it.
Time to raise the stakes. Here's question 3 for you. In The Shining, what magazine can be spotted in Jack Torrance's hands as he reads it in the lobby of the Overlook Hotel before his interview?
If you answered Playboy magazine, you're absolutely right. It might seem like an unusual choice for hotel lobby reading material, but the presence of Playboy in that scene has been speculated to serve various storytelling purposes, like enhancing character depth, setting the atmosphere, and making cultural references, all of which added to the film's overall impact.
All right. Last question, guys. Question 4. What was the false working title used during the filming of The Exorcist to keep the project a secret?
Drumroll, please. It's Captain Howdy! This was a clever trick to distract the curious public. Captain Howdy is a nod to the novel and film, first seen as Reagan's innocent invisible friend, thanks to the Ouija board. But here's the twist. Captain Howdy is really Pazuzu, the demon who's overtaken Reagan.
That wraps up our trivia. Tally those scores, horror fans. Whether you're boasting a full house or just playing for fun, make sure to share your scores with us on social media.
The suspense is palpable. The air is charged. Without further ado, Angela, let's dive into the revelation of our final round winner in the category of novels.
And the winner is The Exorcist.
I believe that The Exorcist will be, the novel, will be regarded years from now as the works of Edgar Allan Poe are regarded today.
Critically, both The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty and The Shining by Stephen King received widespread acclaim, but they were praised for different reasons.
Based on critic reviews and cultural impact, The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty has a slight edge. The novel was highly praised for its chilling narrative, complex characters, and exploration of themes of good versus evil and faith.
It became a bestseller and spawned a highly successful film adaptation, firmly cementing its a place in horror literature and pop culture.
The novel's gripping portrayal of demonic possession was both controversial and groundbreaking, eliciting strong reactions from critics and readers alike and sparking conversations about the subjects it tackled.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, with a tally of 3-1.
In this electrifying face-off, emerging victorious and claiming the title of the ultimate horror heavyweight champion is...
Drum roll, please.
The Exorcist. A cinematic masterpiece that continues to send chills down our spines.
It has stood the test of time, proving yet again its undeniable impact in the realm of horror.
A well-deserved win, guys. The depth of its terror, the complexity of its characters, and the mastery of its storytelling remains unparalleled.
A standing ovation to both contenders, though, for their spirits and unforgettable contributions to horror cinema.
Absolutely, Frankie. Both movies are legends in their own right, but today, The Exorcist reigns supreme.
To our amazing listeners, your seat in the Nerd Coliseum is always reserved. Make sure you're subscribed and drop us a review if you're enjoying the epic battles unfolding here.
Don't miss a beat, Warriors. We're everywhere you find your podcast, and you can even tune in directly via your web browser.
And hey, be a champion. Spread the word about this podcast. Follow, like, and share us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's make the Nerd Coliseum the ultimate arena for pop culture showdowns.
Your voice matters. Got a dream matchup bubbling in your mind? Movies, TV shows, video games, anything in the realm of pop culture? Well, we want to hear it. Drop us a line at thenerdcoliseum@gmail.com. That's Coliseum as in COLOSSEUM.
It's Angela signing off.
What's going on, guys? Ryan D for Alamo City Movie Talk. Catch you later, guys.
Frankie saying stay spooky.
And Kristen here bidding you all farewell. Bye-bye.
Cat. Sorry, I had to add that there. We meet young Regan McNeil, played Reagan. Oh my God, Regan. I say Reagan. Okay. The tormented priest, Father oh my God, Karis.
Claiming the throne in the realm of screenplay. Screaming.
Wow. Hold your breath. The third duel. Oh, God dang it. Hang on.
Solid, strong start.
Oh, my God. I messed up a little bit. Hang on. I literally hold my breath. Okay. You know, Blatty, right? Blatty. Oh, my God. Okay. You know, they criticized its length, pacing, and even Jack Nicholson's performance. What the hell? For lacking subtlety. Subtlety. Oh, my God. Jack Nicholson's performance. What the hell? For lacking God.
Three Truths and a Lie is a classic party game where a player tells 4 statements, 2 of which... 3! Damn it. I was doing so good. Because I added an extra truth.
Round 3, soundtrack. It's a tornado!
Wait, was I supposed to film all this? I mean, record all this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I did. Okay. I just want to make sure.
The acclaim that the soundtrack has received is remarkable. Its haunting melodies
like flavors to be served in his way. Like this soundtrack. I can't do a British accent.
That's the mark of a narrative that does that. Let me check it. It's a world that has earned its stripes in the hell. In the hell.
Kubrick preferred to collaborate with Diane. Oh my God. Okay. Kubrick preferred to collaborate with Diane Johnson, an author he admired, but they spent seven. Oh my God. Hang on. Kubrick preferred to collaborate with Diana Johnson, And Diane. Oh my God. Why I said Diana, right? Okay.
Yeah.
God. Kubrick preferred to collaborate with Diane. Wait, I did say it right.
You said it right.
Damn it.
But they're praised. But they were praised for oh my God. Oh my God. But they were praised for different reasons. But they were praised for.
Who wrote this damn novel?